my reaction video to Jojo's Bizarre Adventure Stars Crusaders episode 6, and this was quite the fun episode, really. it was good, it was enjoyable. Not the best episode I've seen so far. Please don't hold it against me, Jojo fans, but it was still a good, enjoyable, fun episode overall. So ever since the journey started, we had Kakyoin's fight. Then we had Abdul's fight with Polnareff, who recently joined the group, and now we're getting Jotaro's turn. Jotaro and the others on the boat heading towards Singapore, which will take them 3 full days since they're going on boat. Now we get this one scene with Joseph, who's wearing this sailor's outfit, by the way, and he's looking pretty good for a man in his late 60s. He's pretty ripped. Now Joseph was asking them why are they still in their high school outfits instead of changing into something suitable for the weather since it was very hot. Kakyoin replied, because they're students and students should act like students, or students should behave like students in a way. And then Abdul mentioned something about Bushido, where once you clear your mind, even fire seems cold. I guess that's what Kakyoin and Jotaro are doing now. It's Bushido. I'm not sure, but Joseph did mention that they were acting pretty stiff. And then Polnareff then says, girls won't fall for stiffs like you. Ho, Polnareff, mon ami, if only you were there in episode 4. So after that, one of the sailors actually captured this stowaway, which is this kid. He was going to try to call the police, but the kid asked him not to do so because he was trying to visit his father in Singapore, which is why he snuck in. He's still gonna call the police either way. So then the kid then bites the sailor's arm and then dives right into the ocean and starts swimming to shore. The problem is they're in the ocean, and if you're in the ocean, you know there are sharks there. As we see a couple of sharks swimming underneath the kid, and one of the sharks actually tries to take a bite out of him, but then all of a sudden Star Platinum pops out under the water, it's like, oh, and it freaking uppercuts the shark. It was so freaking awesome. And if you pause it at the right moment, you can actually see Star Platinum smiling. He's like, yeah, I punched a shark. I know, I'm awesome. There's moments like these where I really like Star Platinum, and I especially love it whenever he pops up. There's this theme that's playing. It was a really cool song. I think they played that in the ending for episode 2 before Walk Like an Egyptian was playing. Jotaro was in the ocean and manages to grab onto the kid and swim back towards the boat, but he then notices something on the kid and he touches his chest, like trying to cop a feel, and that's when he realized it was a girl. Yeah, I kind of knew it was a girl, as I mentioned in my previous episode, because, I mean, in the brief scene, you see the kid having long hair, so you instantly knew it's a girl. I just find it really weird that Jotaro was copying a feel, well, not trying to, at least trying to be absolutely sure that this was a girl, but it was still kind of weird considering that this kid has to be like, what, 10, 12 years old? Right when Jotaro is taking the girl back to the boat, the shark that Star Platinum punched earlier was like split in half. It was caused by something, which is another stand belonging to another stand user working for Dio. I swear to God, I feel like this is gonna happen like week after week after week. It's like Monster of the Week, but with stand users. That's what I'm feeling like so far, but hey, I'm okay with it, personally. I mean, at least we get to see different kinds of stands. Now, this thing was pretty fast underwater and was heading towards Jotaro and the girl, but Kakyoin used Hierophant Green to grab onto Jotaro's hand and pull them towards the boat. Since they instantly knew that thing was a stand that was after Jotaro, they briefly accused the girl as a stand user, which I thought was weird. Considering how this girl was acting, yeah, I didn't really buy it. She pulled out a freaking pocket knife and threatened to stab them just because they were looking at her weird. Honestly, I heard this girl was supposed to be annoying or pointless, but so far she hasn't come across that. She comes across pretty funny, but I don't know exactly what her purpose is towards the series. I hope she's not gonna be like one of those cliched, annoying kids that will just tag along with the group. Which, by the way, from what I've heard, this girl did not have a name in the manga, but from what I've been told, in the credits, the girl was named Anne, so I guess I can call her Anne. I mean, it's better than calling her the girl or the runaway girl, so I'm gonna call her Anne from now on. There was this moment where they were like communicating telepathically, which was weird because since when the hell did they have like some sort of mind link? That's what I was wondering, unless it's because they're stand users or something. I don't friggin' know. When this girl was like, pulled out the knife, she's like, This demon blade is aching for blood of the 304th victim. You know this girl is lying. Even Kakyoin knew it. So then the captain of the ship actually popped in and grabbed onto the girl, making her drop the knife. And he's pretty harsh with this girl. He does not like stowaways. He doesn't want to treat each stowaway differently, whether it's a boy or a girl. He was gonna take this girl to lock her up in one of the rooms in the ship. But before he could do that, he goes to Jotaro, who is smoking his cigarettes. He takes out the cigarette from his mouth, tells him that he shouldn't be smoking, and then he puts out the cigarette on Jotaro's hat, and I'm like, ooh, you should not have done that. But the reason why he was acting like this was because he was the stand user. Speaking of the smoking, for some reason it was censored. I know that in Japan, people under the age of 20 cannot smoke, it's prohibited. And since Jotaro is 17, that's kind of understandable, but when he was lighting up his cigarette and smoking it, it's like this black shadow was covering completely the bottom half of his face. It looked kind of odd to me. I mean, I know they couldn't alter it, like when Shikamaru started smoking when Asuma died, and they definitely couldn't leave out the cigarettes, like what they did with Toriko in the Toriko anime. So it was censored like that, which is weird, but okay, but it kind of bugged me. Jotaro called back at him, telling him, don't be a condescending prick about it, you jackass. Now, everybody in the group wasn't sure to believe Jotaro, but he said that he did have proof. He said that if stand users inhaled a bit of cigarette smoke, a vein will appear on their nose. Everybody that had a stand, they like touched their nose with their hand. Including the captain, which means the captain was really the evil stand user this whole time. Which actually makes sense because the instant he appears, you can tell that this guy is somebody you do not want to mess with. He's got this like, I don't know, this like aura, this feel to him that something is up with this guy. And another thing I gotta point out, in the anime, Abdul called him Captain Tennille, but in the subtitles, they changed his name to Captain Dragon. I don't understand why they did this, but they did for some reason, so yeah. The whole thing about the cigarette smoke for stand users, yeah, that was a bluff by Jotaro. He was gonna use that for every single person on the ship. So since the jig was up, his eyes then start to shrink. Well, the pupil and the irises start to shrink, and then his eyes start to roll up in the back of his head. Not completely all the way, but just like halfway up, but I don't know why he did that, but yeah. So it turns out that he killed the real Captain Tennille and impersonated as the captain. And then we get a good look at the fake captain's stand, which is called a Dark Blue Moon, based on the tarot card Moon. Dark Blue Moon grabbed onto Anne, taking her hostage. So the fake captain and Dark Blue Moon start to dive into the ocean, but before they can get into the ocean, Star Platinum appears and just starts punching at Dark Blue Moon, which is so sick. It was so cool. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm really loving Star Platinum. And Anne was saved as the fake captain was like floating away, who was pretty beaten up and bloody after that onslaught of attacks. Now, it looked like that it was over. Turns out it wasn't, because Jotaro was having a hard time pulling up Anne with Star Platinum. And the reason why is because of all these barnacles. So Dark Blue Moon is not only an underwater based stand, but it can apparently summon barnacles. It used those barnacles to latch onto Star Platinum, draining its energy and trying to pull Jotaro into the ocean, which he did so, but Star Platinum managed to fling the girl right towards Hierophant Green when Kakyoin summoned it to try to save Jotaro and Anne. Now, the fake captain is no ordinary human being because his lung capacity is 3 times of that as a regular human being. He can last 6 minutes and 21 seconds in the ocean, while Jotaro can only last 2 underwater. It looked like that he was talking underwater, but he was just merely communicating through his stand. Apparently this captain has this like little quirk. I know what you're thinking. He would say these things out loud of what he believes that the person is thinking. And we get actually another demonstration of Dark Blue Moon's abilities. It has these fins on its arms called underwater cutters, which can cut even the ship's propellers. They're very sharp. And this thing can apparently create whirlpools. But goddamn, he can create whirlpools. That's pretty cool. The whirlpool prevented Jotaro escaping towards the surface of the ocean, and it also prevented Kakyoin, Polnareff, and Abdul trying to dive into the ocean to save Jotaro. Although, it begs the question, why didn't they go after him before the whirlpool was being formed? Now, the reason why they couldn't get in is because the whirlpool contained these sharp scales from Dark Blue Moon, and there was so many of them that they couldn't enter the water without getting shredded to pieces. It seems like Jotaro really was in some serious shit because the force of the whirlpool was so strong he couldn't like swim towards the fake captain. Plus he was getting cut by those scales. So what he did was act like he was going limp on purpose, concentrated his power on his fingers right before, by the way, Dark Blue Moon can attack it, and then uses the technique Star Finger, which it stretches its fingers, piercing Dark Blue Moon's hand and stabbing it right in the head. Okay, since when can Jotaro do that? Since when can Star Platinum do something like that? It's like he instantly learned the technique at the very last second and used it at that very moment. It's just holy crap. It's like, to me, it felt like it came out of nowhere, but it was still a pretty cool technique, right? But then again, it's probably something I would expect from this series. With the Star Finger, he managed to slice Dark Blue Moon's head after he was getting cut. He was saying blub 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 blub. That was kind of funny. And then the fight ended with Jotaro saying, if you pissed yourself when you lost, it'd be gross since we're in the water. I thought that was kind of funny. So yeah, with that being said, the fake captain's dead, the fight's done, and Jotaro's okay. However, just when Jotaro was heading back towards the ship blows up! Yeah, apparently fake Captain Tennille planted bombs on the ship, and it's funny that they blew up at that very moment, because they just blew up. It's just, what the hell? But everybody was okay because they were on the emergency boats. They sent an SOS to any ships that are nearby, but I think a day has passed or something, I'm not sure. Anne notices another ship heading towards them, and it's this really big ship, and that's basically where the episode ends. Overall, this was a pretty good episode. It was pretty fun. There were some parts that did kind of bug me, like the smoking censorship from Jotaro's cigarettes. The matter of the subtitle change towards Captain Tennille's name. There were moments in the animation and the artwork where it could have been better. Aside from that, it was still a good episode. Star Platinum kicked ass. When he punched that shark, that was freaking awesome. The fight between Star Platinum and Dark Blue Moon was really good. The Star Finger technique was pretty cool too, even though I was like wondering, when the hell did he learn that? You know, but it was still a pretty good technique. Dark Blue Moon, I like the stand. I think it's way better than Tower of Grey in terms of appearance and techniques, but this thing only lasted like one episode. Yeah, that's probably what you'd expect for this whole series. The animation and artwork was really good in the underwater battle between Jotaro and the fake captain. That was pretty good. There were some pretty funny moments, not a lot like the last couple of episodes, but there were some good funny moments. I liked the one-liners in the episode. I thought they were pretty good. Some of them were kind of cheesy, but they were still pretty good too. Like the one he said to the fake captain, "You can sleep at the bottom of hell." I thought that was a pretty cool line. The new character, Anne, not sure what to feel about her, but so far she's not an annoying character, so hopefully she will stay that way and maybe she'll get more of a purpose in this anime. The music of this anime was really good, especially the moments when Star Platinum does something cool. You hear this one piece of music, which is really awesome. I really liked it. Now, the rest of the group's reactions, I thought they were like pretty funny, especially when they're synchronized. So, you know, this is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure when you have like really crazy over-the-top reactions or yells. So yeah, overall, I liked the episode. It was fun, it was enjoyable, pretty good action, courtesy of Star Platinum. It kicked ass, I loved it. So from the preview, in the next episode, they're gonna board onto the big giant ship, which looks completely deserted, so it's a ghost ship apparently. The next episode will be called Strength, and there is a monkey in there. Not sure what kind. It looked like an orangutan, a monkey. Why is there a monkey on a ship? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to next week's episode. So tell me guys, what do you think of this week's episode of Stardust Crusaders? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What do you think of the fight between Dark Blue Moon and Star Platinum? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like the video if you like it and subscribe to more videos. And be sure to check out my Facebook fan page and Google Plus and my backup channel as well. If you want to see the episode yourself, it's out on Crunchyroll, and I will leave a link on the description down below. So yeah, that is Stardust Crusaders episode 6. I'm Lunar Spawn 27, and I will see you guys later. Bye.